I love her. That's Lisa Loeb. Total 90s throwback. The song is called Stay. I only hear what I want to. It was still my song. And the glasses that she's wearing in her video, the frames, I've been looking for forever. Not that I need glasses, but I absolutely love those frames. Welcome back to the Pursuit of Living Well. Today we're on lesson 9. I hope you've subscribed again so that you're getting this video and you're not hunting it down, you're not missing anything. We are going through the foundation for inner peace, helping you cultivate inner peace on the inside so that you can experience it on the outside. And we're learning a whole lot more about ourselves as well. Lesson number 9, I see nothing as it is now. To go along with the preceding lessons, our mind is preoccupied with past thoughts. If we see only the past, we can see nothing as it is now. We must be fully present in order to do that. The idea obviously follows from the 2 preceding ones, but while you may be able to accept it intellectually, it is unlikely it will mean anything to you as yet. However, understanding is not necessary at this point. In fact, the recognition that you do not understand is a prerequisite for undoing your false ideas. These exercises are concerned with practice, not with understanding. You do not need to practice what you already understand. It would indeed be a circular aim at understanding and assume that you have it already. It is difficult for the untrained mind to believe that what it seems to picture is not there. This idea can be quite disturbing and may meet with active resistance in a number of forms. Each small step will clear a little of the darkness away, and understanding will finally come to light in every corner of the mind that has been cleared of the darkness debris that darkens it. The lesson for today is to be practiced with 3 or 4 practice periods. And it begins by saying, I do not see this blank as it is now. So like the very first lessons that we did, start with what's close to you in your immediate area and say as follows. I do not see this painting as it is now. I do not see this bottle as it is now. I do not see these placemats as they are now. I do not see this highlighter as it is now. And then you're going to look further away from you and you're going to apply the same idea. I do not see that computer screen as it is now. I do not see the rain as it is now. I do not see the old garden as it is now. I do not see the other painting as it is now. And then you're going to conclude with, I see nothing as it is now. It is emphasized again that while complete inclusion should not be attempted, specific inclusion must be avoided. Be sure you are honest with yourself in making this distinction. You may be tempted to obscure it, especially when you're dealing with people. I do not see this person as it is now. That brings up feelings. Sometimes you want to leave that out, or sometimes you want to focus on that. So just try to keep it general. Don't try to understand this lesson as it says. Just practice it. In practicing these lessons that we don't understand just yet, as we go through them, you'll look back and you'll understand while we did it. This is slowly and gradually enhancing your comprehension, your consciousness to these larger ideals to which we are actually familiar with, but we are regaining our sense of familiarity in which we've lost by looking and projecting outside of ourselves. So that's lesson 9 for today, and to go through some excerpts from the text. The atonement as defense, the reparation as defense. Sometimes we want to defend against our own illusions and we don't want to repair for them. Either we've made them special or we value them so much that we feel that they have become an ideal that replaces the ideal, and fear that it may be taken away from us. In which this text and this course wishes to take nothing away from you. It simply is guiding the things that you value to become of more value to you, or if they're not of true value to you, to point you in the direction of what you deep down value. And if you don't value it right now, let's keep going, and you'll change your mind. You'll be surprised. Trust me, it's my third time through. It is clear that miracles are natural, corrective, healing, and universal. There is nothing they cannot do, but they cannot be performed in the spirit of doubt or fear. When you are afraid of anything, you are acknowledging its power to hurt you. Remember that where your heart is, there is your treasure also. You believe in what you value. If you are afraid, you are valuing wrongly. Now, I'm not necessarily talking about fear in the sense of danger. Be wise here. I'm talking about fear in your everyday decisions. The fear that stems from those feelings of lack that we believe in. But those exist in our mind. When we find inner peace, we become more heart-centered. And we're talking about love here. Love comes from our heart. When we want to make something better, our mind wants to correct it. It wants to improve it. It analyzes how it can do this. It doesn't think with love. It thinks it wants to change a person. It wants to change a situation. It doesn't even comprehend. Love doesn't even come to mind. But when you love something, you heal it, and you heal simultaneously. And that changes the situation in a way that you might not have thought of yet. But it brings a sense of warmth. It makes both people feel more whole. A mature response can be communicated, and something greater can develop than these ideas that are still coming from lack and trying to correct something so analytically, or trying to improve something. Miracles cannot be performed in the spirit of doubt or fear. You have to shift your vibration to love. You have to change your mindset, and you have to perceive what you are doubting and what you are fearing from a new perspective. It's going to be challenging because you've put so much investment in that doubt and fear that love is going to feel foreign to you. It's going to feel like a foreign belief, and you're going to think at first, I'm crazy to think I can ever do that. I'm crazy to think I can ever advance in this way. I am so doubtful of, my capabilities and my performance, that how can I even imagine differently that I can be more brilliant in my creativity? I can somehow become more knowledgeable in my craft. But the truth is that you can. As soon as you start shifting your perspective, those thoughts of doubt, they slowly begin to diminish. And as I mentioned before, the voice in your mind not only becomes nicer, but it becomes wiser and it becomes smarter. You do have different thoughts because you've just changed your vibration to a higher level, a higher degree of thinking. Quote by Albert Einstein, "We cannot solve problems with the same mentality by which they were created." This applies to what I'm saying right now directly. If you want to change a problem, you can't stay within doubt and fear. That's what created the problem. You must learn to see the situation differently. And shift and shift and shift and shift until you do. And practice. These new beliefs become your new intentions, become your new thoughts, and you practice them. You might feel a little meek at first in practicing them and not so secure in the idea of communicating these new ideas, but stand firmly on the ground, really ground yourself. It's in your power center. It's in your root chakra. Ground yourself. You have spiritual roots here. This is your truth. In your power center, feel, cultivate confidence. In your throat chakra, relax it, fall back, and just communicate and test these ideas as if they were natural. If you have to pretend to act at first, pretend to act at first, but believe in what you're acting in. And then see the shift in results. You can defend truth as well as error. The means are easier to understand after the value of the goal is firmly established. It is a question of what it is for. Everyone defends his treasure and will do so automatically. The real questions are, what do you treasure and how much do you treasure it? What do you value? What are your morals? What do you desire? These are your treasures. Your mind's treasures and your heart's treasures are sometimes very different. As we meditate, we become more heart-centered because our mind quiets. And we're no longer thinking, but we're kind of sensing and we're feeling. When we recognize what we're feeling, it's easier to shift those feelings because we have tools available to know how to heal them, as in our inner child meditations, for example, than it is to automatically change our mind about them. So meditate and get quiet and feel what's in your heart. Feel how the situation feels within your heart. Are you treasuring this truly, or are you just keeping up with it? Have you always been just keeping up with it? Get really honest with yourself here. Use journaling to help you. When you start journaling, at first it feels awkward, you don't know what to write about, but once you get in the habit of it, you begin to feel like you're really co-creating in your life. You're honest with yourself. You know yourself. You're a part of your experience rather than just being the experiencee of your reality, but you're part of it now. And that's what we want to establish as well. You being a part, a creator, initiator of these miracles, so that you can align the path of your life with what it is that you deeply desire. And this text wants you to desire the peace and the happiness and the love and the abundance that you deserve. The atonement principle was in effect long before the atonement began. The principle was love, and the atonement was an act of love. Acts were not necessary before the separation because belief in space and time did not exist. There was at one point a time when space and time didn't exist. The Garden of Eden, for example. We were just present. We had no idea about the past, because in our past is all of our experiences, some of them mistakes, some of them things that we regret. I mean, who really in this world doesn't have a regret? We're human, we're imperfect, we've made mistakes, we wish we could take them back, but we can't. All we can do is atone for them. That means being present. When we think about those past things, we worry about our future as if we're going to do them again. That brings worry and doubt and fear into the moment. That blocks us from the truth about how to create that vertical perception and see a different idea, a different way of thinking, acting, or being, that pushes those worries and those doubts and those fears aside and doesn't recreate them, but gives you a new reality. The atonement thus becomes the only defense that is not a two-edged sword. It can only heal. Going back to what I just said a little bit ago, when we try to improve and we try to correct things analytically and change, this and that about them without love being present, we're not healing the situation. When you heal the situation, you give the situation a power to be something much greater than it is. When you simply try to correct the situation based on the analytics of your mind and your thought processes, you're not creating any healing. And while something may seem to improve temporarily, remember that you created it out of a out of a viewpoint of lack. And therefore you thought that it needed correction. When really the thing only needed healing. Because when we're healed, when we feel whole, we're acting at our highest potential. What needs solution when we're all acting at our highest potential? Our ability to communicate will be much easier and effortless. Our ideas that we can conjure up from there become a more effortless process as well. And it just becomes a beautiful feeling within you and within those that you extend this healing to. Stop trying to correct people, but seek to heal them by seeing the love in them, by forgiving them, because you don't know their process. You don't know what they've been through. You're not in their shoes. You're not in their mind. If you feel like you're more evolved than someone, you're not. But if you feel that you can share something that will help this person to heal, then do that just by simply loving and accepting them and not trying to correct them. Trying to correct them is actually just also trying to correct yourself. It gives you a feeling of pride and a feeling of control. Those exist on the basis of lack. Lesson 9 for today. Thanks for joining. Don't forget to subscribe. See you tomorrow for lesson 11.